Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, June 11, reveal that a surprise guest will shake things up before Sean Brady rescues Belle Black. Johnny DiMera will also spill to Chanel Dupree DiMera, so some big moments are coming up in Wednesday's exciting DOL show. John Black's funeral service has brought some emotional scenes, but there will be even more soon enough. Marlena Evans will ultimately speak at the gathering, so she'll open up about just how much John meant to her. The love between John and Marlena was strong enough to endure all these years, so that's something Marlena will highlight on Wednesday's episode. John has passed on, but that love will remain in Marlena's heart forever. As for Beau, he'll reject his doctor's orders to stay put at his facility. Beau is still recovering, but he won't let that stop him from attending John's funeral and showing just how thankful he is for this sacrifice. Days spoilers say Beau will arrive at the funeral along with Hope Brady, so that'll give him a chance to hug Marlena and speak to the crowd about his gratitude. Over with Sean, he'll come to Belle's rescue when he finds her struggling with her emotions. Belle and Sean may not be a couple anymore, but they're always going to care about each other and step up when it counts. While Sean consoles Belle in her time of need, Johnny will open up to Chanel nearby. Days spoilers say Johnny will have something on his mind, so he'll talk to Chanel about what's got him so worried. It's possible that the funeral is tugging at Johnny's heartstrings and making him realize just how short life is. Could Johnny's fear involve never being able to repair his relationship with his father, E.J. DiMera? Another option might involve the adoption if Chanel mentions that Tate Black and Sophia Choi still haven't found a couple to adopt their baby yet. Johnny's fear may tie in with more fatherhood concerns, or this could even be about Rachel Black if Johnny figures out she knows he was armed the night E.J. got fired at. Whatever the case, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Johnny will unload his worries on Chanel in Wednesday's episode, so stay tuned for updates on his difficult news. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Kat Green may have a secret ISA mission in the works. Does Shane Donovan want this former Abigail DiMera impersonator for a new assignment? Days fans may recall that back in May, Kat was frustrated over a persistent mystery caller. Someone repeatedly contacted Kat with some sort of pitch, but she made it clear that she wasn't interested. Could Shane have been the one on the other end of the line? It's a possibility to consider since Shane and Kat shared a weird on-screen moment in Days' June 9 episode. When Kat showed up ahead of John Black's funeral service, she seemed rather aloof as she walked past Shane. Kat had a bit of an attitude as she called Shane director and kept strutting on by. That tells DOL viewers that Kat knows exactly who Shane is and that she's apparently rather annoyed with him. The fact that Kat referred to Shane as director could be a hint about them interacting in a professional capacity. It's possible Shane was the one behind those mysterious phone calls that Days fans have been pondering. Perhaps Shane has a mission that he feels Kat would be perfect for, but she's been reluctant to get on board. Kat probably doesn't want to go down the road of deception again, since she caused so much pain with her Abigail charade. That wasn't really Kat's fault since Clyde Weston was running the show, but she still feels guilty for the role she played. However, Shane may be impressed with how well Kat was able to fool so many Salemites, including Abigail's own husband, Chad DiMera. It's a skill that could be useful to the ISA, so maybe Shane is trying to lure Kat into a fresh assignment. Instead of working for a villain like Clyde, Shane may feel Kat should use her talents to benefit the good guys. Of course, there's another option to mull over here. It's possible Kat has worked for the ISA before, and that Shane is simply trying to pull her back into some spy games. Kat may be keeping some secrets about her past and the missions she's already carried out, so that's something to keep in mind. Whatever the case, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Kat and Shane's link will be revealed sooner or later, so stick with us for updates on all the surprising news to come. At John's funeral, Chanel and Tate talk about John before she asks how the adoption's going. He says they haven't found anyone yet, noting there's not much time left. Across the garden, Johnny tells Marlena the live stream is set up for anyone who couldn't make it. She asks about the strain between him and his father, but Johnny would rather not talk about that. Today's about a good man, an honorable man. Steve wanders over to Abe near John's photos. They recall the adventures they've both had with him, and that there's no one they trusted more to have their back. Eric announces it's time to begin, but Rachel cries that she's not ready to say goodbye. Marlena gives her Grandpa John's Mickey Mantle card, so anytime she starts to miss him and feel sad, it will help her to remember. When Rachel can't be comforted, Brady prepares to take her home, but Tate and Ari step in to do it instead. An emotional Brady takes a breath and joins Marlena, Belle, and Carrie in the front row of seats. Eric welcomes everyone who is there physically, in spirit, and virtually. He says a prayer before stating that John is going to his eternal home, welcomed by Sean and Caroline, and all those who loved him. Kate joins Roman in the back as Eric reads a passage about courage, devotion, and love, all of which John had in abundance. Sean slips in to take the final available seat. Belle dabs her tear-stained face and glances back at him. He offers a soft, supportive smile. Everyone joins in through tears as Brady sings Amazing Grace. Next, Abe, Steve, and Shane stand at the lectern together, representing different phases of John's professional life. Steve notes how fitting it is that John's final act of courage was saving the life of a man he considered a brother. Abe says if you were in John's circle, you never left. Shane states they'll remember him as a loyal friend and a true hero. Marlena does her best to keep her composure as a tear runs down her face. Hope pushes Bo in his wheelchair to an outdoor picnic. What's all this, she wonders. Still in his hospital gown and robe, Bo just wanted to show her how much he appreciates her, noting he got a little help from Sierra and Chelsea. She loves it but grows solemn. She tries to deflect, but he wants to know what's going on. She delicately tells him John is gone. Bo reels, learning that John risked his life to save him. When he also learns the funeral is today, he stands ready to go. Hope protests, but Bo needs to be there for John. For his family, Hope, I gotta be there. In his hospital room, the doctor tells Bo he can't leave. He points out there's nothing technically wrong with him, but she reminds him he's still recovering. After the doctor leaves, Bo appeals to Hope, but she won't risk losing him again. They need to be smart and safe about this. She urges him to listen to his doctors. He shakes his fists in frustration. Kayla and Roman stand at the lectern, representing their family. Roman recalls how gracefully John handled the Roman switch. He wonders if he ever really told him how much he loved him for raising his children and taking care of his family, which became John's family. Kayla says that while not a brother by blood, John became a brother by heart. John Black was one of the best men I have ever known. When it's Belle's turn, she chokes up, saying she always knew she was safest when she was with her dad. Everyone chuckles upon her recalling John taking off to Paris to save Eric when he was poking the hornet's nest, aka Stefano. But in addition to his epic moments, her dad was really powerful and present when she just needed advice or a shoulder to cry on. Or a laugh, she says, pointing out how funny John was. She will try not to cry all day and will find time to laugh because that's how John would want it. Paul gets up, recalling how baseball gave them a way to bond when they discovered they were father and son. He elicits laughs, recounting how he beamed John in the eye right before his wedding. With John's mad skills, he wouldn't be surprised if he were a professional ballplayer in a past life. Tears stream as he wishes he could have spent more time with his dad, and that he'd be at his and Andrew's wedding. But in the short time they did have, John made him feel loved and accepted. Paul looks at John's portrait and says, "I love you, Dad. I can't wait to play another game of baseball with you again." Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, June 10, indicate some bombshells on the horizon in Salem. Loved ones gather as a memorial service gets underway, while a young child has uncontrollable anguish and someone has an adoption inquiry. What's said to unravel on Tuesday? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, June 10, hint that John Black's memorial will begin as family, old and new friends, along with other loved ones, gather to pay their last respects to a respected member of the town. Grab your tissues, it's about to be another emotional week for fans. In other news, Bo Brady and Hope Williams Brady will continue to reconnect in light of Bo's awakening. Elsewhere, Rachel Black will be very upset during the June 10 episode, and added teasers suggest that nothing will be able to calm the child down. Fans may recall that Rachel foresaw her grandfather's passing in a dream before it happened, and she was comforted by Brady Black during the June 9 show. Is she upset about John's death now, or is this about something else? Lastly, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday imply that Channel DeMero will have questions for Tate Black regarding the adoption status of his and Sophia Choi's baby. Sophia is very close to delivery, but as it stands, the pair hasn't found anyone to adopt their baby. Perhaps Channel might be a little excited at the thought that the baby hasn't been adopted by another couple yet. While Johnny DeMera was very apprehensive about adopting the little one when he and Channel had the chance, she could be hoping that she can change his mind before Baby Black makes its grand arrival into Salem. Can Channel prove to Johnny that he's ready to be a dad, and he'd make a wonderful one at that? Is there still time for Channel and Johnny to move forward with adopting Tate and Sophia's newborn? Are you excited about Tuesday's show? Join the conversation below. Watch your favorite soap on Peacock Daily and check out SOS regularly for the hottest Days of Our Lives news and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, June 11 remind us that Bo Brady doesn't take orders from anybody, except Hope, so we'll see what happens. Bo is awake. He reconnected with his fancy face Hope. He caught up on Sean's divorce from Belle. He met his grandkids, Sierra's little Bo and Addie. He learned of Victor's and Doug's deaths. But Bo is tired of just hearing about life in Salem. He wants to be a part of it. So Bo gets out of his hospital bed and heads to the funeral of the man who saved his life. Speaking of Sean and Belle, they may be divorced, but they have decades of love between them. Which means that as Belle mourns her dad, Sean is there to offer his support. It's not just that they share a child, it's that they've been there for each other through all of their most difficult moments. Sean's guilt over shooting Bo and putting him in a coma was what finally broke up him and his high school sweetheart. But could losing John be the thing that brings them back together? Johnny can't figure out why Rachel has been acting so strangely around him lately. We know it's because she saw him with a gun the night EJ was shot. But does Johnny, on some level, know it too? Johnny worries to Channel that something peculiar is going on. Could it be he suspects what it is? Was that why he really backed out of adopting Tate and Sophia's baby? The kid doesn't need a jailbird dad. From Rachel not wanting to say goodbye to Grandpa John, to Paul beautifully remembering the life of the father he only found out about as an adult. The Tuesday, June 10 episode of Days of Our Lives featured Salem saying goodbye to the superhero they all knew as John Black. It was emotional, heartbreaking, touching, and even funny. It perfectly paid homage to the man we've seen go through every single trial and tribulation known to man for the last 40 years. Plus, Bo found out about John's fate. In part one of this heart-wrenching goodbye, Salem gathered to say goodbye to John. In part two, the funeral began without Rachel. Marlena giving her John's Mickey Mantle baseball card was everything. Ari and Tate ended up taking her home. Being at the funeral was too much for her. The eulogies told the life of an amazing man, and they all hit hard emotionally. Shane, Steve, and Abe talked about their friend, and how they represented three of the biggest phases of John's professional life. Abe represented John's cop era, Shane was his ISA era, and Steve was his private detective era. When Abby said that even though he hadn't been in law enforcement for a long time, John still called him partner, that hit us hard. Brady sang Amazing Grace, while Kayla and Roman remembered John as their brother. He may not have been their brother by blood, but they said he was their brother in their heart. They talked about how he was afraid to lose his connection with Caroline and Sean after he learned he wasn't Roman Brady. But their relationship remained strong. His family and friends reflected on his superhero status and the fact that he was a bright light in their world. Paul's eulogy was especially touching. He did his best John Black impression. Plus, he talked about how his father rolled with the punches despite everything that he faced. While Paul hadn't known John was his father for that long, they forged a strong connection. Baseball was one way they did that. A former baseball player himself, Paul said that he wouldn't have been surprised if John had been one in a past life. He also said that John made him feel loved and accepted, and whenever he sees a rainbow up high or a baseball in the sky, he will think of his dad. Beautiful. The only time the show broke away from John's funeral was to show Bo and Hope. Bo planned this romantic picnic with his wife, but he could tell something was wrong. And then she told him that John was gone. Instantly, Bo became upset, and he couldn't imagine what Marlena was going through. As expected, he wanted to get to the funeral, but the doctor said it was too soon. He was still recovering, but we all know what will happen. Even if he doesn't get the go-ahead from the doctor to go to the funeral, he'll find a way, whatever it takes, to get there. Days of Our Lives fans are going through ups and downs. Salem paid their respects to John Black. The funeral will air on Tuesday, June 10. But there's one person who will be missing, and that is Sami. Sami briefly returned to Salem, but then returned to Europe. In an exclusive interview with Soaps.com, Sweeney revealed the reason behind her disappearance and reminded fans that grief doesn't follow a timeline. John's death will continue to impact the core characters. Sweeney will be back to mourn Hoggeston's absence from the soap. However, she wasn't able to do so at this time. I don't know if it was meant to be a secret, so I don't want to step on their toes, but I came back a little bit later because I couldn't be there for those scenes, Sweeney explained. They arranged for me to do it a week later, maybe 2 weeks later. I do come in and have scenes about John, but my timing was a little bit off after all of that. Sweeney said it was hard not to be with the day's cast to film these emotional scenes. It was also hard for her to watch these episodes back. We knew when we were filming the scenes that it wasn't going to air until 6 months from now, and we're going to have these feelings all over again, and that's sort of what's happening, Sweeney shared. Sweeney reflected on Sami's future. For instance, her relationship with Marlena will feel relatable to fans. She wants to depict grief as realistically as possible because mourning doesn't always happen when everyone gets together on one day. Grief goes through ups and downs. Most of the time, it never fully goes away. Sweeney added, having Sami come back and share those moments with Marlena, like a week later or something, allows us to tell that story. She will be able to pay respects to a man who was a second father to her. John and Marlena's love will go on, even long after death. Duo fans can look forward to seeing more of Sami and Marlena's mother-daughter relationship long after John passes. Not only are fans grieving John, but also Hoggeston. I'm really glad that I got to be part of it in the way that I was. It felt very real, Sweeney concluded. Swing for the fences was one of Drake Hoggeston's catchphrases that he would often use to encourage his Days of Our Lives castmates to give it their all. The beloved actor, who passed away in 2024, was a professional baseball player for a time. So many of his adages for life were sports metaphors. Recently, Matthew Ashford, who plays Jack, opened up about the send-off the show gave to Hoggeston's iconic hero, John Black. Ashford was interviewed by Soap Opera Digest and explained that he found out about Hoggeston's pancreatic cancer diagnosis. as well as the fact that the beloved actor had a say in how John would be written out. I think it was his way of saying, I want John Black to ride off into the sunset, and that it would be an honor to me to not recast him. The actor was happy that the show and Hodgeston were able to work in tandem to bring John's story to a fitting conclusion. Ashford realized the heartbreaking truth that by Hodgeston giving his blessing for the character's final hours, it was like he said, I can't do this anymore. Ashford felt that it didn't seem likely that Hodgeston was the kind of person to throw the towel in. So the fact that he said he couldn't continue any longer meant the end was truly near. He used a fitting baseball metaphor when he stated, so it's like hanging up his baseball jersey and saying, this number will not be replaced. His John Black will never be replaced. Sadly, Ashford knew something was wrong with his friend when they were doing a scene where John was found tied up. Hodgeston appeared as if he was really in poor health, not just playing John all beat up. He remarked that working with the knowledge that they were nearing the end of Hodgeston's life, it was somber at times. Shane Donovan is back in Salem, but for a heartbreaking Days of Our Lives goodbye. Here's what Days fans had to say about the legacy character's return. Salemites past and present are not only attending John's funeral, but saying a real-life goodbye to beloved co-star Drake Hodgeston, who passed away last September. Among the returns is Charles Shaughnessy bringing back Shane to say farewell to his fellow ISA agent. Fans of the Peacock Sudser were delighted to see the character returning, immediately jumping on X to share their joy. Shane. Always great to see Charles Shaughnessy's handsome face, one excited fan wrote, while others said, welcome back Shane and Charles Shaughnessy. Many noted Shane's kind words for his dearly departed friend. Shane talked about how John was the finest agent he ever worked with and a lifelong friend. All true, a fan posted, with another captioning a screenshot of Shane and Marlena with, it's nice to see Shane back to honor John today. It was beautiful when he told Marlena John was the finest agent I ever worked with. His loss to the agency is incalculable, but that's nothing compared to my loss of a lifelong friend. Among the excitement for Shane's return was also speculation for his interesting encounter with Kat. Kat called Shane director. One fan noted with a questionable look emoji, while other wondered, how does Kat know Shane? Is she ISA and we just don't know it yet? The look on Shane's face when Kat walked past him at John's funeral. I wonder what that's about? Asked an enthusiastic viewer. While it wasn't a true crossover, General Hospital met Days of Our Lives when Galen Gering was a guest on Maurice Bernard's YouTube show, State of Mind. The actors had a fun discussion, and it was cool to see them together. Gering, who has been playing Rafe Hernandez since 2008, opened up with Bernard about many things, including his inexplicable anxiety. On State of Mind, Days of Our Lives, Gering spoke with General Hospital's Maurice Bernard and explained that he was supposed to have been a guest a while ago, but a charity event altered his schedule. He then shared a hilarious story that had a touch of irony. So I have a funny story for you, he began, explaining that there was some irony to what he was about to share. He went to make his usual morning coffee, and then I was like, oh, dollared. What was that dream I had last night? That was a trippy dream. He stated that his dream was about a play or a TV show, but it was like a live audience, so there were people out there. The Days of Our Lives actor explained further, I was like doing this scene. It was like at a desk, and then there was another person sitting next to me. Before anything happened, he realized he'd forgotten his lines, noting, I was like, I got nothing. He remarked that whoever he was with tried feeding him his lines. When he thought about it, he reckoned that it had nothing to do with work because he had been acting for quite a few years. Gering explained that there are times when you're like, how am I going to get through this day, Whether they were shooting multiple episodes in a given day or not, one gets through it, he stated. As he further reflected after thinking about his dream that morning, he realized the truth behind his anxiety-filled subconscious. I was like, son of a b*****, titch, it's because this show I got to go on to today with Morris. What am I going to talk about? And I realized the irony was that you were messing with my state of mind and giving me anxiety, ironically over a show that talks about it. Bernard couldn't help but laugh at Gearing's story. The Days of Our Lives actor explained that in the dream, he eventually realized that everything would be all right. I was clearly worried about going on the show today, but he knew it would all be good. Bernard agreed, and Gearing further noted that it was an interesting analogy for his appearance on the General Hospital Stars talk show. A clip from the show was posted on Instagram, with Bernard remarking, "Gearing is a great storyteller and incredibly funny." A fan going by at Cheggles too fully understood Gearing's point and commented, "This was brilliant. His dream was about the stress of going on state of mind and maybe having nothing to say. I'm sure after the podcast, he realized he had nothing to worry about. Now the question he needs to ask himself is, what did I learn about myself here?" You can watch new episodes of General Hospital on ABC and Hulu. Days of Our Lives can be streamed on the Peacock app.